Hello everyone and welcome back to Learning to Be Prepared. Today I just want to give a quick tip on another way to store your EDC items in your pocket. As many of you have seen, a lot of us have these Altoids tins kits. This is a regular size Altoids tin, and when you open it up you can definitely see that there can be a lot of items in here. Now if you would like to see this kit, I do have a video on this on my channel, and I'll do my best to remember to put a link in the bottom. But one thing I've noticed is that when people do EDC pocket dumps, very seldom do I actually see them put on the table their Altoids tin kit. And I don't blame them for this. This can be a bit of a full pocket sometimes. Sometimes like this one, the lid just stays open just enough that if you were to put this in your pocket, it might come undone pretty easy. And at least for my kit, this is just normally something where I need to adjust something real quick to make it snap all the way. But the thing is that there's another Altoids tin out now, and it's more of a vertical. And when you add these together to show the size-wise here, you can see that this one is also shorter, but I'll move it up here to where you can see. It's going to be about maybe half an inch to an inch shorter, but when you line them up on the side, it's also quite a bit more narrow. Now, the thing is though, is that something like this will fit in your pocket much easier than the full size, and I think that some of us might be more willing to still carry an Altoids tin if we didn't have to take up so much valuable pocket space. The nice thing about these little tins is that if you have some gear in here, you may not want it bunching up in the bottom of your pocket as if you're, or like when you wear a suit for an example. Other times you just want it to be more clean in your pockets and you don't want things floating around just because you go to sit down and smaller items can fall out. When you sit in a car seat and then get up, things move around. Inside this little can or a tin, even though it's so small, I'll show you a couple ideas. This is not meant to be a full kit. This is to give you guys and myself some thought process and maybe a challenge, if you will, to come up with a little urban EDC kit or a little survival kit using these types of Altoids tins, because I don't see very many videos on these. Inside here, we can take advantage of some of the newer technology that the EDC world has. So for an example, Klecker knives and tools have several of these little small tools. Very small, but have a lot of different uses. This is the Griffin Pocket Tool. And I'm going to do some videos in the future, soon actually I hope, of a lot of these different little tools. But this would give you just a little bit of a pry tool and some different little multi-tools, if you will. This is one of their stowaway tools, that's the knife. So it would give you a nice little knife with a good handle. And the nice thing about this is that compared to a little razor blade that you kind of have to sit there and hold, I think I have one right here. I'll take it out for you real quick and show you the difference here. So this is going to be the normal razor we carry, but you could carry something like this and have definitely more of a handle when this is open. And this is a double A flashlight. I was going to say it's a full-size double A because I was also considering putting this one by Factor, which is called their Ghost. It's a little bit smaller, and technically you could save even more room in this tin. But this would give you a nice little flashlight. It could be a backup. A little Colgate Wisp, just a little toothbrush, disposable. And the other thing I had in here, which I use a lot, and this one I folded it up because it is a little bit wider. But this is just one of those glass wipes. Now, these items right here, I'll push them back to where you can see them. These items do not fill up this tin can. In fact, it may be even half the room. But the idea of what I put in this tin as an example is just what I literally use pretty much every single day. I use a little flashlight, I use a little knife for odds and ends, and I definitely use these glass cleaners throughout the day because I use them for my eyeglasses, my phone, my watch. But all of these little items could go in here, and you're not necessarily carrying what we call a survival tin. But if you have a lot of nice items in here, and I plan on doing some other kits inside these size Altoids just to show you different ways you could use them. But these have a much smaller footprint in your pocket. As we mentioned earlier, that is a lot smaller. And yet the little mini Altoids tins, they're so small you really can't get anything in them. I can't usually get enough in them of things that I use on a daily basis. But with something like this, I really could put a lot of items that I'm going to use every day. And if I'm in some type of clothing that I just can't stuff my pockets with, for an example, my full-size light right here. That's a lot larger light than what's going to fit in here. But the thing is if I don't want to tug around that full-size flashlight, then I could use this little smaller one, or again, this ghost. Another thing you could do with these is make very small fire kits. Some of us always like to have a fire kit with us in our pockets. Now that's not necessarily me, but some of us in the community do. So this OST survival kit, which has a knife sharpener, a AR-15 cleaning tool, and also a fire starter in here, you could easily take this, and it goes right inside there with plenty of room, and you could put a couple of different types of tinder in there, and you could have a very small fire kit in here. And even with this in here, and by the way, you just screw one end of this off, and your tools slide in there like this, and the knife is right over there. All three of those tools just slide in there. And the nice thing is it gives you a full-size tool when you open it up, because you just turn this around, take off the other end of the cap, and this has a little hole in it right here, so you slide the other tools right into that hole, and then you slide this back over it, and the orange case becomes a handle, and your tool sticks out to do your fire starting or anything like that. But even if you wanted to put this in here like this, you can still take your knife, your little multi-tool, your flashlight, and even if you want to put your little Colgate wisp in here, the little brush end sometimes can make things a little tight in here. But even if you put all of that in here, and you still could put this in there, just fold it up and stick it back in there. Even all of that together fits in here, and it's it's just another way to carry your EDC stuff and have even more room in your pocket. And if you're one of those people that like to go to work, take everything out of your pockets and put it on your desk while you're working, if you just set this on your desk, unless somebody just wanted a mint, they may just see nothing more than an Altoids tin, and yet in there you have a lot of items that you could use throughout the day, and you could get to them easier because you're already on your desk. You could take out your knife or your fingernail clippers or whatever you have in here. If I were to set this up for real, I would totally make my main tin with this one more of an urban tin of just things I'm going to use throughout the day like this. But as I mentioned earlier, I could easily make a fire kit out of it, and so many other ideas that a lot of you guys could come up with. And so I just want to challenge you today. If you've ever made an Altoids tin out of here, maybe as a community, we could come up with some neat ways to use these smaller ones. And that way, maybe it'll be so small and yet still useful that when we see some EDC pocket dumps coming up throughout this next year, maybe we'll see more people actually carry an Altoids tin in their pocket. And again, I know some people do carry this one with them, but I don't really see it as often as I would like. All right, guys. Well, here is just another tip on how to make your EDC pocket dumps more useful, or other ways of just expanding your thoughts and ideas. So my challenge to all of y'all is see what you can make out of these tins, and let's get these out and get some videos up to help everybody in the community be better prepared. Okay guys, thanks for watching.